Hey, John here. So I got the Scott's machine. I think it's a 97. It's made by John Deere. Sold by Home Depot back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But anyways, so let me give you the symptoms right quick. When you go to start it, it was going click, 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 and then 4 or 5 times you would click it, and it would start. So it's most likely the solenoid. At that point, I just kept ignoring it because it would always start. And I was just back there emptying leaves, and of course it's always when you need the thing. The machine was just idling and it quit. So I didn't know what that was about. It took me a heck of a time to get it started. But maybe something grounded out, I don't know. But anyways, then I got it back up here towards the garage. It was running, shut it off, went to start it again about 5 minutes later, and the starter was stuck on. so I don't know what that was about. I'm still leaning towards the solenoid, but I think something was grounded out. But it's either a bad wire going from the solenoid to the starter, or I thought it was from the switch to the solenoid. Wasn't, because on the dashboard I disconnected the switch while the starter was still zinging. So and I'm just catching up right now. So again, I'm still leaning towards the solenoid, so I figured I'd take you along, see if we can get this diagnosed. Alright, so hopefully the starter's fine. They get a little warm. So this wire looks alright, doesn't look too bad as far as corrosion or the crusties, but going back, it goes back to the solenoid, directly to the solenoid. So hopefully I didn't cook this. And so what you pull the wheel off of here, right? So you can get to your solenoid. And clearly it's got 2 of them there, piggybacked. I must have replaced it at one time and didn't take the old one off. It looks like this, because the other one had the connections on this. This looks like the old one, or the original one rather, and it's a 4-pole. I ended up breaking the tab off of the battery, positive, so it would cut the juice. So I do need to replace this cable. And what we got in here is we got this wire. The red wire is for your charging, and this purple wire was, and again, these aren't probably color coded. This thing's 22 years old. It's probably been rewired a couple of times, because I noticed there's some wires just cut and everything. And again, I did all this, but just can't remember what I did. This wire is a ground wire. Probably went to the 4-pole. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Anyways, this purple wire is your goes to your switch, which I have to fish out. The wires fell in there, but it goes to your ignition switch, which I have to find. It's probably gonna leave somewhere. Again, the starter was cooking, so I had to think quick. This wire, I want to replace it. I don't want to take any chances that it's, wherever this voltage drop was, where this clicking, I don't know if it was a solenoid. So we're going to replace the solenoid. We're going to place the wire from the starter to the solenoid, and the wire from the other end of the solenoid to the battery. And that's the main wires. These wires, they don't look bad. It always had a charge, so the stator, I'm sure, is working because it was working. And this goes to your ignition switch. It's the only one that's in question, because like I said, the starter was stuck on, but disconnecting the switch didn't do anything. So I'm leaning towards the solenoid, but let's get this hooked up. I'll show you what I did. All right, so that wire, this starter wire, gets snaked in through here, and I was just you can see it moving in there. So I think we can get this out, but as I was moving it, look at that. This might be my problem right here. It is kind of, yeah, I think it's just going to break off of there. This might have been my problem. So this may be a problem, not the problem why the starter was stuck on, perhaps, but the click, 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 and why it wouldn't start, that could be because of this wire, a voltage drop. It wasn't getting the proper voltage to activate the starter. But as far as being, stuck on, that it probably doesn't have nothing to do with it. I actually had to, literally rip the battery wire off. I'll clean this up. All right, so I got this new thicker wire taped to the old wire, right? And hopefully we can just snake this through. Just unhooked it from the starter, and that's a little rusty. That's going to have to be cleaned up. That might be a contact failure there, or a loss of, a voltage drop. Here's the other one. It does have a few broken strands. Do the old snake routine. It's a little thicker, but I think we got it. There we go. Alright. So I'm going to hook that up there. I got to clean everything up. Let's see, we've got plenty of room, I think. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's almost made for it. So we'll figure that out. I'll clean all this stuff up, and actually we'll put a fuse in there, why not, and then hook this end up power wire, which is right here. Alright, so we just wheeled this up. Well, first I put this battery cleaner with, as I said, you know, the yellow stuff, and then wheeled it with just a little you know, wheel, clean that up. Did the same thing with this contact. I think we're gonna throw some tape on this, and then we'll throw some just to cover the strands here, just because, well, just because, right? You don't gotta go bonkers with this, because you don't want to spin that terminal, right? Nice and tight, and then we can do like battery terminal protector, that kind of stuff. Okay, so it's probably easier to just explain it this way, save a little time. So this wire is the one we just did with the on the starter wire. It comes to here, goes to this pole, and then from this pole here, this big pole, this big wire goes to your battery. Pretty simple stuff. These other two wires, 1, 2, and 3. This green one is just a ground that goes to your frame, and if this was a 3-pole solenoid, it would just be, the ground would just be, you know, on the frame itself. It would just use it that way. But this is a 4-pole, so it just, like I said, just goes to the frame, grounded out there. And this little red one here, both of these, the red one and the purple one, come from or go to your switch, however you want to look at it. This one goes to, you know, it's for battery positive, which obviously it's on the battery leg here. And that powers the switch, or gives power to the switch. And when you hit the switch to the run position or auxiliary or whatever, it provides power to the switch up on your dashboard. And when you go to the run position, it sends the voltage down this wire and activates the solenoid, and boom, it bridges it, starts it, blah, blah, blah. You let it off a run, and the motor continues to run. And this wire also functions as your charging wire. So when the motor's running, this trickles back into your battery. That's how it keeps track. But anyways, that's how it's wired. Pretty simple to do. Just figured I'd save you a little time in explaining it rather than sitting through watching me hook everything up. Before I clean all these tools up, we just got to see if this thing will bump. I think we got it licked. Alright, so again, I don't know what to tell you. This thing just quit and wouldn't start. Maybe a ground issue, and then the starter problem, click, 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 and then the starter being stuck on. So if you have any of these symptoms, you can follow along and just you know, again, I have no idea what it was. I didn't have time to. There goes the poster. I didn't have time to diagnose it. I just have to get this fixed because, as you can see, there's a few leaves I got to pick up. So it could be a cable, it could be a ground, it could be a positive cable, a ground cable. Definitely not the starter. I'm leaning towards the solenoid. The solenoid, I think, got compromised and was the culprit. However, it could have been as easily as a ground. Like, that's normally what stuff is when things go awry like this, that are intermittent and starting to go. Usually a ground, but anyways, the solenoid I had on spare, so this is a no-cost thing for me. I don't know how much solenoids are now, $15 probably. So anyways, thanks for watching. See you next time. I gotta get sucking up some leaves here.